Hey there, and welcome to the Max Not Binary. I'm Max. We're back in Oxygen Included today, where we are providing actual oxygen, would you believe? Hello, Punked, Nemetrect, Wrecked, lovely to see you all, and to everyone in chat. I hope you are having a good day. So, here's Amy. Amy's been having some problems over here with us, like not providing her any oxygen, things like that. But we've built a whole oxygen production system. We can cool it, can pipe it in the base. Neo has been here helping. So if we have a look at the piping. So we've got very simple. Oxygen comes through here, goes into the little barracks bit, and also up to where we do the cooking, which should start to pressurize stuff. These are only regular vents. It's worth noting. Hydrogen comes out, feeds the generators. I haven't got a priority on this because it won't use very much of this filling up the thermonullifier, so I don't think we need one. That is why it's just a split there. This generator is linked to the battery. This one is not. This one's just going to burn it off. So, we have water in it, as you can see, and while I was prepping this last night, we ran it until it overpressurized. And I was interested because obviously I built this off Cez's recommendation in the Discord, and I was looking at how it works. So, as probably you know, pumps pick stuff up on a cross. If I build a new one, you'll be able to see the cross a bit better, probably. Not on this overlay. Let me put it on this. No. Yes, here you go. So you can see that cross there. That's where pumps pick up the gas from. Liquid pumps have a very similar cross. In fact, it's almost exactly in the same place. So they only actually draw out of those 4 tiles. So when you have a look at this top pump in here and the gas overlay, you can see that only this part of the cross is actually available. And this is going to be hydrogen, which is how it's working the separation of gases. Because this is liquid, this is a solid. So, yeah, I thought it was quite neat when I actually looked at it. We need to reset these Atmos pumps. This is above 1200 and this is above 600. So I'm told. Let me check before I give you that as a definite. Yes. Yeah. 1200 and 600. So, we should just be able to turn this on now. And I think it should work. I'm doing alright, thank you, Punked. I have actually slept and, unlike yesterday where I slept till 4 o'clock and felt terrible, I actually felt like I've actually slept today and feel better. So that is nice. Let's have a little go. So yes, we brought you back because of that, because it's time to turn this on. So that is the point at which I thought, oh, well, we should return so that we can see this. I wonder how cool this will come out anyway, because I mean it is going through quite a extensive cold biome here, although mostly in insulated pipes. Yeah, pretty cold. I thought that would probably happen. So, and we're even starting to do this. You need to run on this for a minute, Dupes. You need to come and run on this wheel. Just until this gets going, which is going to take a little while. There we go. Neo's coming to run on the wheel. You look rested? Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I definitely feel more rested than I did yesterday. As I say, poor sleep is nothing unusual for me in any way. Oh, but it doesn't mean that I'm not shattered. Steam sale starts next week. I think I saw some memes about the Steam sale starting up. We'll have to have a look at what's on it. Should be good. Yeah, you can see. Even there's only tiny bits of hydrogen coming down here, because this only uses like 10 grams a second. It's such a small amount that this will back up pretty quickly. And then all of the hydrogen ore could be going into here, which will almost certainly stop any need for running on this wheel. Hopefully this goes on sale. It often does in the Steam sales rect, is what I would say. Hello, Petter, Arisia. Civ 6 Leader Pass is free if you have all the other DLC. Is that so, Arisia? Because I know they said it was free if you'd bought the Anthology edition or anything like that, but I bought everything separately, sort of as it came out. So, I mean, that would be great, because it seems a bit... It seemed a bit weird that you could have it free if you'd bought into the game really late, but if you bought into the game early, you could. But it looks quite cool. I'm quite excited about that. New leaders is always fun. Not that I've got to grips with half of the existing leaders yet, so there's also that. So yes, look at this. Actual oxygen being pumped into the world. So I'm quite pleased about that. I think we might actually break this bit up. The duplicants aren't coming this way for whatever reason to service this. They insist on going through the cold biome and getting their feet wet, because of course they do. So we might as well try and keep the cold in there a little bit. In fact, if we... I wonder if there's a place we could put a tile where they could still get in, but it would create a lock. We could put a tile here. No, they couldn't get in there. We could put one there. That would lock it. Let's put just any old random tile in there. Just to see if we can keep the chill in a tiny bit more. There. Cool. That should be good. Is this backing up? It is sort of backing up a little bit. I tell you what we might want to do in the short term is, can we sever this off just in the short term? Because I'd like it to back up in the pipe, but I'd still like Neo to run on this wheel so that we can keep it working. So there's sort of a bit of both going on there that I'd like to happen. The next thing we're going to do, once I'm convinced that this is sort of self-sustaining, is we're going to try and fix these. And get them going again. Because why not? What I might also do, while Neo is here, is have a look at some of these vents and geysers. Now that, you know, Neo being here isn't a terrible drain on the ability of everyone to breathe. Which is, you know, preferable. Yeah, you can see this is backing up pretty quickly. Lovely. So other things that are happening. Over here, we are building a little volcano tamer. Quite a simple one. This was a vacuum. And I'd made this whole liquid lock. But it's very, which I didn't realise really, it's very cold down here. And the liquid lock froze. And now there's oxygen in my build, which I'm sort of moderately aggravated about. At least it has pressurized up the steam turbine. I mean, oh, I've built this wrong. Now I think about it. This needs to be self-cooling. And we have handily got gold here, so that's nice. Thank you. So, yeah, I'm a little tiny bit aggravated about the oxygen getting in, but such is life. I'm hoping that just larger quantities of water here will help it hold for a little bit. My intention is largely to seal the box up. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the layer of water in here, which is going to push even more oxygen pressure up here. We're going to seal this off, and then we can pump out down here. I think that's probably the appropriate way to do it. And handily, I've remembered that we actually need to cool the steam turbine before we do that. The other thing we need to build up there is, yes, some way for the power to get down this side. Lovely. So they're doing a pretty good job over here. In the rocket, we have collected a whole bunch of gold amalgam. There is on the floor somewhere. I don't know if you can see it. I thought it was on the floor. Oh, maybe it's in here. Oh yeah, there's 20 tons of cobalt ore here, there's 20 tons of gold amalgam, there's 20 tons of igneous rock on the floor. So that's all pretty good. If you guys got nothing to do, it does appear that way. There's no O2. Oh, nuts. Right, hang on. I need to do an emergency thing outside. I see what has happened there. There are actually some ways we can fix that inside as well if we want, because we can just delete all these ones that have got little oxygen bits in them to free up some space. But outside we need to build a tiny vent. What rock have we got nearby? What is the nearest rock? And where is Annabelle? Annabelle's here, so it doesn't really matter. You can just use igneous. Right then. Please do these at like a 9. Cheers. I mean, that's fine. You can finish that. So yes, apparently there's going to be a new CK3 DLC as well. I saw Paradox tweeting about earlier today. So, you know, I'd be in favour of that. Well, I mean, I'd say I'd be in favour of it. I haven't bought the last one yet. And we'll have to see whether I can afford it. But, you know, I'm in principle in favour of it. It's about as far as I can go. Alright, Annabelle, no going inside. Let's check that we've got a move to highlighted on Annabelle so we can make sure she doesn't go inside. Because you need to finish this. No, I see you trying to go inside. Whatever you're doing. You see, you want to go and get the stuff in there. Is there a way I can forbid her from going inside? Yes, there is. Right. Only crew. That should prevent you from going in there. Yeah. Yes, that's it. Now you have to go somewhere else to get the stuff. Once you've built it, you can go back inside. What's this? Power use? What's going on here? This looks like it's doing relatively well. We've nearly backed this up. Once we back it up to here, even just this one, then we can probably delete this wheel. Where are you, Annabelle? You getting this done? Excellent work. Congratulations. Right. You can now be crew again. We can actually put this back to all as well. Alright, what are you off to do? Oh, you're just going to go and do stuff? Good. And that should allow these to go, which will slowly fill these back up with oxygen. What if we set this to deliver and undock this one? Just so one of you can go outside again. Because then you'll stop breathing all my oxygen as well, which I'd appreciate. There you go. Abe's off. Well done, Abe. Yeah, we've still got a bit of oxygen for them here. So we're going to put the battery down here. We're going to put a steel battery in here. We're going to have a sweeper and a loader over this side. And, I mean, that's largely it. To be honest, that is largely all we're going to have. Let's turn this one off for a minute. Cheers. Oh, you see, we were trying to do it this side as well, but this is also frozen. Upsettingly. Didn't we have a copper volcano here as well? I thought they said. So we've got 2 cobalt, gold, iron. I thought it said we had. No, wrong button. Yeah, apparently there's a copper one somewhere as well that we haven't found yet. So that should be nice. Alright, back here. Oh, also back here. I did it. I made the cooling loop. Cooling provided. It is actually beginning to work. It's already fairly significantly cooler in here. Which is pretty good. So that's kind of the only thing that's really gone on here, is ensuring we have some cooling there. What how we've got clean water in that. Don't know. Alright then. Well, whatever. You lot, how are we getting on? Good. Right, you come here. This needs to get reconnected so that it can flow past there. This needs to go. And this should now be self-sustaining. So that should be good. And we've also created a tiny lock so that we can hopefully keep a little bit of the cold that's in there on the other side. Right. Next thing's next. We need to break in here. Which is going to be... hang on there. Not this one. Deconstruct. Deconstruct. Good. Right. Okay. Let's break in here. We can try and get some of these fixed. Now that Amy is once again here to maintain the power. I'm not quite sure how we're going to get down here to actually do anything, because I bricked it in really close. Oh, we can just deconstruct this door. Which might help. We can move it back a bit this side. It's going to be a bit tricky. Can deconstruct this. How are we getting them in? Don't know. Don't know how we're getting them actually in to fix things. We'll have to work something out there. What are you doing with that stuff? Who knows? Imagine things actually happening here. Okay, so yeah. This is sort of good to go now. Let's mark these for harvest. Since the dupes can get to them, we might as well harvest them, send them back. Hello, Emily, welcome in. Had another realisation today. Compared to a normal engineering job, the dupes are the contractors and you are the consultant. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we could just let the hydrogen out. We've already got quite a lot of hydrogen up there. But we certainly could just let the hydrogen out. Considering that we can always refill it with hydrogen. And explain why they always lock themselves inside of builds. Harsh, harsh Nematrak. Ooh. There must be a way. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to get in this build without letting all the hydrogen out. That's what I'm thinking about. And Gravitas is the previous contractor you blame everything on. Coming from the bottom? Do you mean down here? That's sort of what I was thinking. Because we could break this up so there isn't any atmosphere there and then delete them again. What if we dig these out? And put a bunch of bricks in here. And then we'll just deconstruct them again. And then we should be able to get the dupes in. I was just thinking that since... if you come in from the bottom, the hydrogen floats and it's got nowhere to go. That's also reasonable. Never mind, I've come up with a more complicated solution, so we're going to do that one. Because I love a complicated solution. Alright. But yes, this is going well. Relatively well. Are you keeping that battery stocked up? It looks like it. Yeah, it looks like it's not actually a problem that it feeds through to here. Can we build this? No, that's unreachable. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. What about this one? Can you build that? Yes. Build that. There we go. We'll micro that. Anything we're doing back here, we're trying to re-provide water from another source for these, so that they're doing pretty much fine here. Oh, I know what I want to do over here. How are you getting on with this? This is all nice and breathable. How much water have you put in here? That's probably plenty, to be honest. Over 200 kilos per tile? Seems fine. Sweep that up, please. Also, we're going to seal this in now. My power consumer's not enough steam. Yeah, no, that's fine. Excellent. I'm sorry, are you idle? Do you feel you have nothing to do? I know what you can do. I can give you plenty of things to do. Send some more copper to them. They're going to need it. Send the copper that they sent you back. Also send the plastic that they sent you back. There we go. Excellent work. That should keep them with something to do. Good. Right. Deconstruct this, please. Yeah, so although it's not hydrogen, which I would have preferred because it's a better cooling, it is at least very pressurized, which should help. We're going to use a little pump and some dupe wheels to pump out the oxygen there. We could actually use some coal. No, that's not the one I was looking for. I was looking for this one. Okay, we're going to want to go back fairly soon. Let's see if we can get this one finished before we go back. That would be nice. We could actually use some coal. If we dig this out, we can put a little coal generator up here. It will be our first coal generator of the game. We literally haven't used one until now. But to save the duplicants some wheel running jobs, we can give them a coal generator. I don't really care which rock you use. Use whichever rock you like, frankly. Do you need a high pressure vent? You are going to need a high pressure vent. Build it of gold. Cheers. So we'll probably just do this one. If we can get this one up and running before we have to head off, that'd be pretty good. What am I looking for? You lot. How are you getting on? Pretty good. Let's finish bricking that up. Got loads of things to send over. This is running. Yes. I'm tempted to run this into a battery that we could actually kind of run a couple of the not very many power consumers we have, or at least, you know, could essentially become a part of a main grid here. No, not you lot. You lot are doing fine. Ah, good. What's up with this? Oh, we've run out of sulfur. Well, there's not very much I can do about that. Well, there's sort of something I can do about that, but not necessarily immediately. What are you lot up to? Abe, are you really happy? You look pretty happy. Are you doing a thing? You are, being a balloon artist. Look at this. It's a bit different from last time we sent them on a rocket and they all had nervous breakdowns, I would say. So we can be pleased about that. Yes, that's what I was thinking. We can, in fact, do something about the what's-its. We're going to use kind of the same trick here, where we're going to go underneath and then we can get in there. Printables. But we're also going to go and hunt for... What's your advice on collecting the radiation thing for research? Bear with me. I will show you. So, if you start on one of the planets that has the pool of, you know, you get that little sort of almost geode of uranium ore, you can do most of the early radiation research that you would ever need. Why don't we have any power? Because the sun's gone in. Yeah, well, those things happen. We don't have any power because we never have any power. It's a moderate issue. You can get most of the radiation that you would need by just putting uranium in the manual Radbolt generator. It's sort of fine. It's very dupe intensive, but otherwise pretty good. If you have Weezewarts, however, I would advise using Weezewarts. If you have Weezewarts and you can feed them. I mean, they only need phosphorite, so if you have Weezewarts and you have some source of phosphorite, it's a little bit less dupe intensive, but a little bit more power hungry. So what I would do is I make a little V like that, and I plant Weezewarts in all of them. I've never used it. What's most? I would say that from your little uranium bit, you can probably do... I don't know. All to, let's say, like this much. Let's say as a conservative estimate, you could do like that much of it with maybe one of these. You can actually do loads. When we've done it, we discovered that we could actually get through loads and loads of it. Do you have to worry about the radiation for dupes? Nah. No, you're fine. So yeah. Radbolt, Weezewarts. Radbolt generator. Ideally there. You need to point it up because you can't, oh no, you can put it, yeah, because you can't have it go that way. Or you could have it here. But Radbolt generator. The problem with the Radbolt generator is it uses 480 power. 480 watts of power. No ice biome. You did find an ice biome. If you've got Weezewarts, then I would advise Weezewarts as long as you can feed them. Just because it's less dupe intensive. But it is more power intensive. Because you need 480 reliable watts. Because remember, if your power ever goes off to your Radbolt generator, then you have your Radbolts start to disintegrate. So yeah, that's what I would say. What is it that we're running that's destroying my power? It's a point of interest. Doesn't look like any of the aqua tuners are on. So, like, it should be alright. But it isn't. What is using so much power? What is broken? Oh, the light. No, that's fine. We knew that was broken. That's not a big deal. Oh, now it's going up. Yeah, it's probably the aqua tuners coming on and off that are causing the problem, yeah. Oh, no worries. I used the Weezewarts for ages, and then we were doing one of the more regular maps that has the little geode of uranium, and they were like, someone in chat was like, oh, you can just use one of these. And actually, it's perfectly reasonable. You don't need to have a uranium biome to make it work. You might want to make sure that you're prioritizing. If you use the generator, make sure you prioritize the manual generator. Make sure you're prioritizing the things that you'd really like to get done, and that will help you, get to other ones. The radiation lamp? I've never used it, Emily. That's one that I've never used. I have heard that people quite like it. It's not very, Oh, it also requires uranium ore. It's not very power hungry, though. So that's nice. That's the one you use instead of the manual thing. Cool. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of options. We'll have to try it at some point. Since I'm here, we would like to build one of these. So you stand on that side, is it? So chat told me that wherever the cursor is when I want to place a building is where the duplicants will stand on that building. As long as you're not playing on the... Oh, we could build it here, actually, and then it will be fine. Well, that'll be fine, then. Cool. At what point would you suggest purchase the expansion? I actually think, Petter, that I would advise the expansion from the beginning these days. The reason for it is that if you play vanilla, you're going to have to learn a bunch of mechanics that won't carry over into the DLC. Because of the different way that space works, particularly. Also, the space differences make a difference, but you can play on the classic map, so that's less of a thing. But because of the way space works, I think you've got quite a lot of stuff that you need to do on vanilla that you're kind of not ever going to need again. So I'm not sure it's worthwhile, is what I would say. If you intend to buy, if you know you intend to buy the DLC, and like you can afford it and all of that. Obviously, I love vanilla, and if that is what you can get, I completely believe that you should just play vanilla because it's great. But I think if you know you want to get the DLC, just get the DLC and start in the DLC. Don't confuse yourselves with different mechanics. Kai, thank you so much. Welcome in. I hope that you are having a good day. Right then, let's build a bin. We need a bin. Bin. Granite bin. Be lovely. I'm going to put a bunch of plastic in there so that we can send Steve up to do the... Can you give examples of mechanics that you don't need to use? Yes. So, because of the meteors falling, you are going to have to do a load of things with bunker tiles and with a cooling space and with dealing with regolith and with dealing with shovels. None of which things you will need to know until the absolute end game of the DLC. But I would say that space isn't the end game of the vanilla. I'd also say that like you I'd say that it's just not really worth it if you're gonna build the DLC. I reckon you can learn everything that you want that will help you through the game. Not sure about the DLC though. Spaced out rocketry has a quite big learning curve itself, and on many asteroid types it's mandatory, so having the basics and sustainability down from the base game is probably good before digging into that. I would counter-argue that you can just play the Terra Classic map size, and you don't need to do space at all, really. It's got everything that you need. You don't need to worry about it. The smaller map size do aggravate me, but you don't have to play with them, Petter. You can play on the classic maps. Now, one advantage that Just Vanilla has on its own over the DLC is a greater variety in the number of classic-sized maps. Because obviously it doesn't have the small ones. But, yeah. I'm not sure there's a reason to start in the base game if you're only going to play the base game. In a sandbox game, you ran out of dirt once. I mean, I've done that on the classic maps. That's true, but then why get the DLC at all? The question was whether to get it or not. Emily, I think my point is that the bits of the learning that you were suggesting were important from the base game, you can do in the DLC in the big maps. I still think that you should try the challenge of the small maps. I do find them kind of aggravating, but they are an interesting challenge. Does that make sense? That was sort of my contention. There are many steps and learning curves to the game, that's certainly true. Cool. Well, I'm glad it helps. Right, you. We brought you over here, so we can go up there. But no, I definitely recommend the DLC. I think it adds a lot of different challenges that you won't get in the base game. And that are worthwhile. I would say that the expansion is generally more. Not necessarily more fun, just more. I think that's where I'd place it. The more can be great, because it gives you, a whole other thing to get through. No. It was get the DLC but play the Big Terror first. So you don't have to learn the extra DLC stuff immediately. That was where I was. Yeah, the important bit is kind of the first. I mean, you could just play the vanilla first, I guess, but then you have vanilla space and vanilla rockets, and who wants to do that? What are you putting in here? Copper? How much copper have you sent to us? That's my next question. How much copper have they sent over here? 16.4 tons? How much copper have they got left? I mean, there's a fair bit more to dig up here. So that will be fine. Alright, we'll let them send a bit more. But yeah, I also wouldn't say that it's necessarily more fun, but it is certainly more. Oh, this is off-gassing. Damn you to all hell. Polluted water. I wonder if I could mop you successfully. No? Not going to let me mop that bit? Oh well. We'll just have to go with Nematrek's thing that if we dig in here, then the hydrogen will rise anyway. Oh, I see why you think you can't get there. Very sorry. Let me dig those out for you. It's great and well worth addition. No, I definitely think so. Yeah, that would definitely be my point. I don't think you should avoid the content at all. I think it's good. I think learning to play on the small maps adds a whole other bit of difficulty curve on top of what is already quite a big difficulty curve. I'm taking a long break on the game just because I got to a point where I got to piping and I thought, how am I supposed to learn what needs insulated piping or not? I think I was thinking too much into it, but not sure. As a base advice in what needs insulated piping or not, my advice would be, do you care about the temperature of the liquid leaking out? So, if you care about that, then you want insulated piping. If you don't care about that, don't bother with the insulated piping. So, for instance, here I've insulated the pipe, even though it's not working super well, because I'd like to protect the ice biome as much as possible from the heat of the hydrogen. One of the reasons it isn't working very well is because this is a sandstone insulated pipe, because I couldn't be bothered to change it over when I realised I'd built it out of the wrong thing. But that's the thought. Do you care about the temperature inside the pipe getting into the outside world? Or the other way around, do you care about the outside world's temperature getting in your pipe? If you do, then insulate. If you don't, then just build a normal pipe. And don't follow my advice, because I always build way too many insulated things, which is why I constantly run out of igneous rock. Yes, temperature certainly affects the surrounding area. That's how a lot of the cooling mechanics work. So if you look at, for instance, the cooling that we're doing here, if you look at these pipes, so this water is hot, yeah? That's why this is all, I even went to the trouble of making sure I had igneous for this, because this water is 90 degrees. But we're doing the cooling, and the way this cooling works is that there's heat exchange between the surrounding atmosphere, even if that atmosphere is a liquid, whatever fluid you've got surrounding, and the contents of the pipes. Sort of the basis of how a lot of cooling works in the game. Those things are affected by the thermal conductivity and the specific heat capacity of the properties, but that's a bit more in depth. But essentially what we've done is gone from, I don't want to leach this 90 degree heat into the air, to I do want to get it out of here, so I'm happy for it to exchange with this cooler water, so that when it then goes into these pipes, it's a lot cooler. We could probably have these not be insulated. I have them insulated because I was concerned that this is going to get hotter than the water in the pipes, and I want to keep it cool because it's feeding our crops. But you could also not. Alright, you're doing alright here? Looks like. What are we doing with research as a point of interest? We were talking about it. How is that getting on? What are we doing? We're doing this, and we have apparently finished it. Petroleum engines? I mean, where am I going to get petroleum? I mean, I do know where I could get petroleum, but I'm not entirely sure we're going to be doing that anytime soon. Let's do the, this. Let's do that. That will be a thing we can do. Hello, you lot over here. I've been ignoring you, and oh, excellent. You've pumped this out. Can you still breathe? Just about, but we probably need to send you home, to be honest. Or we probably just need to live with the idea that we need to send you home now. View interior. I think we need to send you off. I think you don't necessarily have enough oxygen to ensure that you're getting home super safely. So we're going to send you home for a bit, and we'll come here again. Probably once we've restocked. We'll probably just restock and then come back, to be honest, and do more work here. Right, you. Let's change your destination. Back home. Let's check the crew, because I was fiddling with the crew, and we don't want to abandon Annabelle. Lovely. Why can't I begin launch checklist? Oh, because I don't have a control station. Ah, yes. Well, let's fix that. Who is trapped? Oh, I see. Well, that's fine. We can fix that one for you. Not a problem. There you go, Neo. Success. You're no longer trapped. In the rocket, thanks. Let's build you a rocket control station. It said there was copper here. Otherwise I wouldn't have built it out of copper. Are you telling me that Annabelle picked up that job from the planet? Great. Hello, KJ. I see you have too many max value points there. It is a thing that happens. For sure. Lovely. Right, you have the right destination. I think I should be able to launch from inside the rocket. Is that just me? You're aiming for ad time? Jesus. I set it so high because I don't really imagine anyone will ever want to do it. But yes, there is a top tier points redemption for me to actually run an ad. Could just let them take their suits. No, I don't think I want them to take their suits. I think we want to leave the suits here. Weird. Alright, you carry on there then. So they're on their way home. This, we need to... Can you please fill this with plastic? Cheers. So we've got plenty of plastic for Steve to go and do a thing. How are we doing over here? You have found... Oh, this isn't sulfur. This is something rubbish, which is not sulfur. But still, we'll find out which rubbish thing it is, and then we'll go and have a look over there. Right. Let's do some rebuilding. Oh, hang on. Have I still got this turned on to send the aluminium back? Because I don't want them to send the aluminium back right now. Yes, don't send that back. Cheers. I don't think you've got extra. I think you've only got the amount that you need for these pipes. So I'd rather you kept it here and used it for these pipes again. Actually, let me, we'll deconstruct and rebuild that one as well. Oh, lovely. You could do with a fancy suit that fits. You need to attend a wedding. Oh. That sounds exciting. I'm fortunately now old enough that I no longer need to attend weddings all the time. There was a period of my life, sort of in my late 20s, early 30s, where I was probably attending an average of a wedding every other month. And despite the fact that we live in London, literally nobody wanted to get married in London. I had to go to Wales, I had to go to Scotland, I had to go to various bits of England. Nobody wanted to get married here, which was kind of annoying. Like, the weddings were nice enough, but the travel was a bit aggravating. Ew, indeed. That was sort of how I felt about it. Why do I have to travel to all these weddings? Okay, they're in orbit, so that's fine. You've run out of power again, which is less fine. It's got to be these. I mean, it's not that one. That one's definitely cold enough. This one's only just cold enough. Yeah, it's got to be these that are using all the power here. I suppose this is on, and that is connected to the power now. It's not connected to its own network. May I casually admit that I desperately waited for your stream today. I was so bored, and the ONI category was a bit on the lacking side. Oh, was it? I think without Jack being able to stream as much, there's not so many people who do ONI before me. There's quite a lot of people who do it after me, and sort of through the evening. But before me is more complicated. I would like to get earlier, but as I say, I've had sleep has been for the week this week, unfortunately. But hopefully it'll be better. What day is it? Thursday. Okay, we'll try and come on a bit earlier tomorrow. I promise nothing, but we'll give it a go. I see your book appreciation, Odysseus. I will get to it fairly shortly. You miss Jack? Yeah, it's kind of a shame that he's not able to be on. Also, it was a great sort of slot for him to be on, because it was before most of the other people in the category are on, which is, really good for him as a streamer, being able to sort of have a good audience. So, yeah, it's kind of a shame, but people have to work, it's understandable. I suppose this is running all the time now as well. It's a little bit more. We need to provide more power, though. Well, that's on the list. You can't reach that, can you? Yeah, you can. You can do it through here, can't you? Didn't I tell you to deconstruct that? And if I didn't, what have you deconstructed instead? Not power. Is there a gas pipe there? No. Automation wire? No. No, I don't know then. Not enough materials. Is that actually true? We must have sent some back to the other planet. Recommend Lunesta as a sleeping medication. It does not give that groggy effect when you wake up. I'm largely immune to sleeping medications, is what I've unfortunately discovered. None of them really work for me. I have tried a few. I mean, I suppose I could try Vicodin or something, but that seems to be pushing it. Or Valium. But, yeah, no, most of the over-the-counter ones don't really work for me. And I've never been very excited to take them. I don't think I've tried Lunesta. No. I don't even know if you can get it here, though, Petter. We have a very restrictive drugs market. And I'm not complaining to my doctor about it. Partly because my doctors are rubbish. But also just because it's fine. I just sleep badly. I've built my life in... Oh, look at this. How did you run out of power, you? It's got to be this, isn't it? Alright. Let's change the piping a little bit on that. So what we can do instead is... we'd have to do it here. We can do it here. And instead of doing it that way, we'll bring this round like that into there. We'll deconstruct this and sever this. Just so we can make sure we have more of a build-up. Half the hydrogen is going into the pipe, but this doesn't use it very quick, so once the hydrogen is backed up all the way to here, it should be fine. We could make it so that we prioritize this way. I'm not convinced that's the problem, though. I think this is the problem. Let me try this, and then we'll have a look at other solutions in a bit. Does that mean we've poorly pressurized in here, or is it... No, it's still fine. Right. Hello, Neo. Still fine. Okay. Right. Speaking of drugs, I took my drugs when I got up, and I wasn't allowed to eat afterwards, but now I am allowed. So I'm going to take a very quick break while I get some food and a drink. Well, a quick snack, anyway. We will follow Neo around. Yes, centre of attention. And I'll see you all in a second. I'll be right back, everyone. Switching doctors is sort of complicated, only because there is, there's a crisis in our health service, essentially. So, everything's pretty much of a muchness. There's a reasonable chance that we will go private. Is the solution that we'll probably come to, and then we'll see about stuff. But yeah, there's a reasonable chance of that. Because should enable things like not having to pay quite so much to, just see my psychiatrist to prescribe me drugs and not really do anything else, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's sort of I didn't really want that one to go. Sorry, Neo. Hang on. We'll come back to you, mate. If I can find you. Yeah, so that's probably the solution that we'll move to in the longer term. Right, I'll be 1 second. Enjoy Neo. I'll be back now. No, I see. The pod's gone off then. Let's have a look. What have we got in the pod? Wow. Well, thanks, game. Thanks. Nothing good in the pod, once again. Alright then, let's have a quick check on here. How is this sorting out? So you built that, so now I would like you to build a wheel, because we'll need to pump it up again. Thank you. What are you sending over there? Copper. Alright, we can definitely stop doing that now. For a bit. There you go. Millwood check. Going to the pod was so sad on the 1 dupe per planet run, as there was no care packages and I only ever took 1 dupe. Jack needs to come back just so you can sub to his great emotes. I mean, that's kind of fair. Did have great emotes. I've always been slightly wary of using art assets as my emotes. Just because, you know, I don't know if they belong to other people. Like, I don't know how the companies would feel about them. We can probably stop. Oh, that's what's going on. We keep sending the copper back again. Let's stop sending the copper back again. But we would like to send them some more aluminum. But he did have great emotes. That's definitely true. What was I thinking? Who knows? Who can possibly say what I was thinking? Partly I was thinking that we really need to get some power. Look, the sun is up. I mean, the sun's only just up, so that's probably why. How are you doing? You've built this? Right, now you need to run on it. You've built your wheel, now run on it. Which I suppose is vaguely similar to you've made your bed, now lie on it, but, you know, not quite the same. Excellent. Yeah, so this only uses 10 grams a second. This is kicking out, what is it, 112? Yeah, 112 grams per second, which should leave 102 grams a second coming this way. This only uses 100 grams a second. So, hello says, welcome in. This pipe filling up shouldn't be a problem for this maintaining power. So I think what the problem was is that this didn't have enough of a buffer and too much of it was going straight to be burnt off, rather than going back into the battery. I mean, there's another way that we could fix that, which is we could just run this power line into this one as well. I mean, we're not using the power for anything else, so we certainly could use it for the battery, and it would be fine. Move the bridge that sends the hydrogen to the generator 1 tile to the right. I don't want to do that. I don't want to prioritize this over the thing. Because, as I say, the thing should not use enough hydrogen for it to be a problem. Yes. All of this is true. But, yeah. Yes, says. Yeah, I mean, this is literally what I just said. That is assuming the electrolyzer runs 100% of the time, which probably isn't the case. I mean, potentially. We can keep an eye on it. I wonder how much it runs. I mean, it's probably running 100% of the time for the minute. Oh, actually, we don't have to keep an eye on it. We can just look at the properties. It'll tell us. Oh, I mean, it's kind of cheating because it was switched off because we didn't have any power. But because we don't have very good pressure here, for a little while, it probably is going to run 100% of the time. We might run into new problems when we've actually pressurized out here. But sweep these out. And then we can do the thing that we talked about doing, but I couldn't be bothered to do, which is, what's this stuff? Insulating in the bottom of this ATM. But yes, that's certainly true, Emily, that there is an assumption. But yeah, oh, you see... Alright, well, we can fix this. There's an easy, if moderately upsetting way for the dupes that we can fix this. Because you see, we've got loads of oxygen. There we go. Arbitrary. Empty the O2 bottle at the dock. I didn't see that they'd left one at the dock. But, you know, success. It's now once again massively overpressurized in here. Which might mean that we want to turn the pump off. Oh, actually, it's not that overpressurized. It's sort of fine. But we do probably want to turn this pump off now. That'll be fine. We'll land soon. Wombat hole. Are you just naming plants in the game there? No, probably not, because that'll fit that up. Okay. They'll be fine. This appears to be fine. Please, get off that. No, not the battery. This. Thank you. Yeah, so this is what I wanted. I wanted, to change the way these pipes run so that we'd have a backup here. And this is just essentially what is left on the list. Arbitraries are not left on the list. We can do the list. Let's do the list, and then I'm going to do the book appreciation that Arisia redeemed. So, just before I do that, how are we getting on here? Alright, well, we'll leave you to it. Okay. We can do the list. Things we have to build. Mushrooms. I didn't bring any slime back. They do make for great emergency O2. If I had seen them, I would have thought of it, Emily. But yes, you are correct. Would have been great. Mushrooms. Mushrooms are definitely left. Bog buckets. Nosh beans. Those are the things that are left in terms of crops that we eat that we need to grow. Oh, and pincher peppers. They're the other one. Which we might well try and put it in here. And try and make it hot. I'm not quite sure how we're going to make it hot. But we'll work on something so that it actually becomes hot here. Arbitraries we've got over here. So they count. We're counting these. Mealwood. As you see, we're still growing mealwood. I think what we're going to do, though I haven't quite decided how we're going to do it, I sort of think... You remember how we piped all this water over here? I think we might wind up moving it all back over here. And moving the poke shells over here. We could just build the thing here. Why don't we just do that? Why don't we not bother? Why don't we just build the thing here? What we might do then is, even though we haven't got enough power, we will build here a ethanol distillery come ethanol generator room. I don't know what we'll do with the carbon dioxide. We'll probably pump it into space, to be honest. But I think that's what we're going to do. And then we can use the ethanol to provide some power, but also feed some nosh beans. I don't know if we actually have any nosh beans. Do we have any nosh bean? Oh, no, incorrect. Is that not how you spell it? Do I not know it exists? Is that possible? That we don't know that nosh bean exists yet? I mean, it's possible. It looks like we've never discovered nosh bean. Build an Escher pump to get everything in infinite storage, or with a bit of elbow grease, you can move it where you want. I mean, that is true. Let's have a quick look at the star map then, because we'll probably have to go somewhere. Do we need to go to this one? Yeah, this one will have it. This one's got rust. So we might have to visit this planet to get nosh beans. What are you doing? Are you landing? Or are you just hanging out? Oh, it is landing. Right, okay. Yeah, so we're probably going to have to visit this one. Can we get to that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can't get there, can we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. We'd have to go from one of these. We'd have to stop off, which means we'd have to build a refueling station at one of those. How complicated would that be to actually just build a refueling station? Yeah, probably not super complicated actually. We've got plenty of coal for power. We can bring the metals. We can just build a thing. Water? Have we got water for the steam? I mean, we could use this polluted water that's hanging around. We haven't got a water source here to use. I mean, we've got a lot of ice. So, I mean, we could provide water. So, yes, I guess we have to build a refueling station to go and get it for the tofu. Absolutely. Alright then. So that's sort of where we are with that. And excellent. That does work. I'm not weirdly out of focus. Book appreciation for Aricia, who redeemed it. This is Bad Science by Ben Goldacre. I've talked a little bit before about how I largely stopped reading fiction to a pretty big extent and moved into mostly reading non-fiction and pop science. Ben Goldacre is a journalist, but a science journalist. Like that was their beat, was reporting on science stories. Essentially, one of the things that Bad Science is about is why your science reporting in your newspapers and media outlets is so terrible. Why people don't understand it, and it's also a primer on sort of the basics of understanding things like statistics and how press releases from scientific organizations or medical organizations and stuff like that works, and how to pass them in a way that will improve your understanding. You have that one? Oh, Aricia, I'm sorry to hear that you already have that one. Did you read the second one? Did you read Bad Farmer as well? Because I quite enjoyed that one too. So for everyone who's not Aricia, who apparently I've recommended a book to that he already owns, we would both recommend Bad Science by Ben Goldacre. Especially if you are perhaps not in the sciences. I know an awful lot of ONI viewers are themselves engineers or in other ways science adjacent, so probably a bit more critical of some of the stuff that gets published. But it is an excellent sort of short, not that short guide. It's arranged in sort of case studies, which makes it relatively easy to dip into and out of. It's reasonably old now, but it covers, some things that you probably already know about like how the placebo effect works, why the MMR is why the MMR scare was a complete nonsense and stuff like that. And then some sort of more broad strokes about things like why the media is bad at reporting science, which I sort of liked very much. I thought that bit was really interesting because there can be an awful lot of conspiracy theorying around why the media is bad at reporting to stuff. Oh, yours has the red cover. Probably just drop the gendered signifier, I'd say. Says, if you just say amen. That's my quick guide for how to get around times when you're like, I don't know which gender I should put here. Just drop it. Normally, every sentence you want to use it in, you don't need it. So there you go. Quick tip. But yeah, it's a really good intro to stuff like that. I really like the fact that it's quite generous. Like, it isn't going, people are idiots and why can't they understand these simple concepts? Like, it's literally telling you why people can't understand the simple concepts, because they're not taught it and it's not prioritized and nobody has any time to do the basic work to allow people to make the decisions themselves. So, yes. Yes, no, I understand, says. Yeah, so I definitely recommend it. Also, the second one, which was Bad Pharma, not bit denser, bit more ranty, I would say, with Bad Pharma. Bad Science is also quite funny. It's quite he's quite witty, and it's quite a good intro. So that's Bad Science by Ben Goldacre. Thank you for requesting some book appreciation, Odysseus, and I'm glad it was something we could appreciate together. Max is mad no matter the context. I mean, that's often true. So thank you very much, and we can return to ONI. Thank you for spending your max value points. But yeah, definitely give it a go if you haven't read it. It's worthwhile, even if you know some of this stuff. As I say, he's quite fun. He's quite engaging and fun to read. So even if you know the stuff, it's still sort of worthwhile. It's not like you'll be like, oh, why am I reading this? I know all the stuff. He'll tell you it again in a way that will be engaging. Alright, let's empty these bins. Because we brought all this stuff here so that it could be our stuff. Oh, I know what I've done. I know what I've done. We had to get rid of that because it was stopping the wheel working. So we have to replace that. Abe? Look at this, chat. Do you remember how Abe's animation was broken yesterday? Normally, whenever you reload, it fixes the animation. But apparently it hasn't fixed Abe's animation, which I'm a bit surprised about. Why were you collecting swamp chard hearts to eat? Considering, you know... Actually, we should probably put it in there. It's probably the place we want it. Hello, Bricks. Welcome in. I don't think you missed anything, Petter. We were talking about books. I was doing Aricia's book recommendation, for which I picked a book that Aricia already owns. But that is Bad Science by Ben Goldacre, which I would recommend to anyone who hasn't read it. The Atmosuit dock is bugged, by the way, in the last patch. I'm surprised it works fine on your end. What's the bug says? Yes, I picked a book that the person who redeemed it already owned the book. Which wasn't necessarily excellent, but, I mean, what can we say? Oh, audiobooks. Yes, I should get into audiobooks. I don't really know. Oh, the dupes sneak through? Yes, I have heard this. I don't think I've seen any particular examples of it. Though it's possible that because, like, the outside of my base is sort of mostly fine everywhere, we wouldn't necessarily have noticed if they're sneaking out. Like, if they've snuck out and just gone back in, like, because there's nothing really very dangerous, we might not have ever got an alert. So, yeah, we might have not have noticed it just because of that. I suspect we need to put some more suits here. Annabelle, Abe. Who else did we send? Oh, we sent Catalina, didn't we? I reckon we probably need to deliver 2 suits to here. And maybe 1 to there. I wonder if we've got them. We'll see. You don't have any suits yet, so joke's on them. I mean, that is one way of dealing with the problem. I think we have the rec room now, so hopefully that will cut down on idling at the checkpoints, though as I say, it does not in fact stop idling at the checkpoints, despite what has been previously claimed. That is not the way it works. So, yes, but hopefully. There's no reason why. Actually, we can sweep the Abyssalite here now as well. The only reason I didn't have Abyssalite going there was because of when I dug these up, which were like 500-degree bits of Abyssalite. So we put them in space. This bin, in fact. For some time, this Abyssalite was very hot. But now there's loads of Abyssalite that isn't very hot, and it's been in that space for a really long time, so it's cooled down. I mean, space shouldn't make it cool down. I don't know. I assume it's just the amalgamation of Abyssalite. Never mind. I'll worry about why that's so low temperature another time. You lot, over here. You're idling. Stop idling. That's no good, is it? Right. Alright then. Let's brick this up. And otherwise I think we're sort of good to go in here. We can also brick this up since it was never very useful. I know, Neo. I apologise for dipping you in the water all the time. Abyssalite debris is a problem too. I thought it was only exposed tiles. It was just that the debris itself, I think it is in general quite difficult to get the heat out, but because the debris was so hot, I didn't want it to just be running around the base and, you know, maybe get something poured on it. I just wanted to be sure I could put it somewhere safe. But I don't know for a fact it would be a problem. But I think it can be. But But I'm certainly prepared to not be correct about that, because I'm not entirely sure. Alright, so this is an exciting carbon dioxide vent, if we ever wanted some hot carbon dioxide. To which the answer is clearly, why the hell would we want hot carbon dioxide? Yes, this seems to have fixed it. Now that we've just got a little bit of a backup here, this seems to sort of have sorted out the problem, because then it's not passing through to the other generator, and we're not burning off more than we need to. Right, let's see if we can find out what's in here. Might do a fishing achievement run. Can you be specific, says. What do we mean about what? Though I would also ask a Wombat Hole what their fishing achievement run might look like. Yay! Go you! Right. So, I have some concerns that as soon as we plug this in, it's going to break all the pipes again. Ah, Graveyard Keeper. Game? I mean, it won't break all the pipes if it doesn't run through the thing. Are you doing that thing where you don't work when I initially plug you in? Because jazz hands. Oh, I see what's deleted. No, that's not deleted. There is a pipe there. Yes, it looks like there isn't a pipe here. That might be the problem. Replace the refined pipes with regular granite if the chill is too strong. The chill is only too strong right at the beginning. I mean, we could do that. We could break in again, make them of granite, and then replace them with the aluminum later. No. I'd like you to do me a favour. Dupes, can we sever this? Because I think I know what the problem is. But yeah, if they all break, I might do that. I might make it of granite and then come back and remake it of aluminum once the temperatures have stabilised out a bit. Because that could be a way to sort that out. That's hydrogen. You know what that means, don't you, chat? It means the sulfur, the liquid sulfur vent, is in the magma somewhere. Well, that's disappointing. Frankly. No? You still don't want to do that? I mean, why? So, I think the next thing is to see if the chimney works. Then we might be able to see a bit more of this. We can climb up there, so we could climb across here. And then we're going to see if the chimney works. Excuse you, you're going to have to get out of the way. What are you doing? Oh, sleeping. Well, I suppose that's acceptable. But yes, I'm relatively happy with how that is working out. That seems to have sorted itself out. We can speed up a little bit, actually. There is no need to go so slowly now. Right, if we connect this, will you go round? No. Why? Why won't you go round? Can you help me, Chad? Why won't it go round? Are you in some way not joined up, Pipes? I think you are. Oh, no, maybe you weren't. I don't entirely understand in what way you weren't joined up. Yep, there we go. Immediately broke the pipes, because of course it did. Well, backsides to you. But that is a way to replace them. I think I quite like Cez's solution for how to deal with that. Because it will solve the problem I was having, where I was having to actually deconstruct the pipes. If we replace them with granite instead, then we can do it whilst keeping the water flowing, which is what I want to achieve. So we're going to give that a go, because I think that should help. And then if we can get this one going, we're going to also try and get this one going. And as I say, we're going to try and have a look at this. It looks like, I mean, this tiny bit, you know, notwithstanding, it looks like we might actually have our space chimney in place. I'm fighting the same problem with my oxygen cooler, no matter which pipe they break. It's not about the pipe that makes them break, Duda. It's about the temperature of the stuff that's in the pipe. So what you sort of need to achieve there is to make sure that whatever liquid is in the pipe isn't at a temperature where it can ever state change, because it's the state change of things within the pipe that cause them to break. That's why we've got ice here. That's what happened to these. The water that was coming in turned to ice. Yes, alright, snazzy suit. Who gets one this time? I think we are. Yeah, we'll give it to Steve. Nearly everyone has a nice outfit. Who's scalding? Really? Oh yeah, it's quite hot up here. So yes, we could have a space chimney, but unfortunately it's like 400 degrees anyway, which is kind of disappointing. You've nearly finished. You'll be fine. Down you come. So we'd need suits, but we do have a viable space chimney. I tell you what, don't bother Actually, don't bother replacing these ones, because none of these are broken. Just replace the broken ones, and then we'll get you to build them back in with granite afterwards. Also mop this. Back in with aluminum afterwards, I mean. Excellent. You're doing very well. Right, let's check on these, what's it? This is full of, whatever this stuff is. Plastic. That's the stuff. Let's sweep that out. We don't need it. This is full of food. So we can almost certainly launch this into space again. Now Steve has a snazzy outfit. It will be time for Steve to head to space. Let's check on a couple of things. How is your tank is full? This tank is empty though, right. So let's get on with recharging these rockets. Well, they both need some, so it'll be fine. Alright, while you do that, now we're getting on here. Doing alright. What's the temperature like? Yes, well, considering the anti-entropy thermonullifier both isn't working and we've just replaced all the pipes with less good pipes, I am not surprised that that's proving slightly problematic. Sweep this stuff up. Oh, not that, because you can't get to that. Let's not bother sweeping that up. You're doing very well. We're pleased with you. You go, Neo. I know you can't breathe, but we're working on that. I mean, we're not really working on that, to be fair. We could give them suits, I guess. We now have piped oxygen. They could have suits. I'm not entirely sure where we'd put them. But we could give them suits. How much hydrogen have we got in there? Like 2 kilos. It was pressurized by this. So, it's just like regular pressure, really. I mean, plastic doesn't build pipes, unfortunately. And this one. No, it was working fine until I took Amy away. And because I'd taken Amy away, there wasn't any power in the shutoffs. So then all the pipes broke. That is what happened there. Yeah, the problem was that we took Amy away. So there was no one to run the power. Otherwise, it works perfectly well as a system. Right. Let's just keep an eye on it till it actually runs through. I say perfectly well. It runs fine, is what I'd say. It's not amazing, because it doesn't provide quite enough cooling, really. It takes a little while. So actually the cooling, it's not so much the cooling it doesn't provide enough of. It doesn't provide enough water to our plants back on the other side. But nonetheless, I did enjoy the idea. The idea was quite fun. Should we give them suits? I mean, it would stop them constantly getting hypothermia and stuff. Where would we put the suits? Because ideally we'd want them sort of here, because this is where they sleep. But we haven't got any space to put them here. I mean, we could move this ladder a bit. And make a little suit room. Potentially. Do you want to dig those out? Cool. Alright, so that seems to be fine. So the next one we need to do is we need to get in here and do this one as well. Which had essentially exactly the same problem. But, because it says it's quite a good idea, rather than deconstructing the pipes, I am just going to build straight over them with granite pipes. And try and fix it that way. But we'll need a ladder piece so they can get up there. Oh, this one's letting the hydrogen out the bottom. That's disappointing. That is moderately disappointing. Because it was a pain in the backside to pressurize this. Oh, I know, I can see how to do it. I can see how to do it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We can fix it. Give me a gas pipe. One of these is a gas pipe. There we go. Excellent. That's that fixed. What is this here that's breaking? Is it the pipe? I guess it might be. I tell you what, replace that with the granite pipe briefly. In case it is that. Don't know why you'd be breaking. But we'll fix it. Okay. Back to the issues of crops. While we get that fixed. I mean, that is partly an issue of crops, because, you know, will help us provide water. Look, here we go. Now the actual cooled water is starting to come in here. Look at this piping. You can tell it's one of my bases. Look at this nonsense piping. There we go. Let's put some rad bolts in. Yes, that ceiling light is still broken, but that's not an issue. As you can see, we've now mostly got the temperatures in here under control. Obviously, the regulator's still hot. But apart from that, everything is fine. Good. Piping. If it's working, don't fix it. I mean, that is true. How are we doing here? This one is broken. Let's have a look. We can probably now replace them with aluminum again. Because once it's running, it's usually alright. Oh. I was like, what else is breaking? I'm like, oh yes, Neo, because we scalded him. That is what is breaking there. It's actually just Neo. Right then, let's see about providing you with some suits. I see you've flooded a bunch of stuff. That's fine. So the reason I did that was so we could sort of move some of this. What if we moved this? If we had suits here, what would we do? We could move this door back one for a start. We could move the doors back to there. Suit dock thing. Just for 2 dupes. I mean, we don't really need any dupes over here, ever. And then we just need to move this across one. Maybe? Maybe just up to there. We could also then dig this out. And they could use this door. I think they are using that door. Yeah. Okay. Is Steve's rocket ready? Probably. Yes, look, these are breaking now. How do we tell if the rockets have finished fueling? The pipes break. There we go. Excellent. Right, so you're fueled up and ready to go, essentially. Crew is Steve. It is. Right, so we're just going to send Steve into orbit. There's no real point in him doing anything else, so that he can make many databanks. Let's change your destination. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Let's just send you up there. Launch. Bye, Steve. Bridges make me rethink the loop. You mean using bridges so that nothing can break? That is a way to do it, certainly. Bye, Steve. Lovely. How's this one going? That's going to be a while before that one fills up again. Forever. Let's make sure Steve has a job up here. We have liftoff, absolutely. It's always satisfying to watch the rockets take off, I have to say. How much are you producing? Not enough to run this aqua tuner. Sort of disappointing. What is your name generator selection? Oh, to have a name in the game? I think it's called name in game. Did you check the rocket water supply this time? I think so. I think I had a little bit of a look. Yeah, it's all good. I think it's auto, I think after last time, yes. The water is now automatically refilling up there. So, to avoid me being completely incapable of checking. But yes. How are you doing with these? Have you fixed them? Well, I guess this was never aluminum, maybe? Have you managed to lose, like, 10 kilos of aluminum somewhere? Maybe. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. Just... Oh, actually, before you do that, let's sweep that out of here. Printables? Better bread? Certainly better. Yep. Right, who's getting the flashy pink unitard? Oh, actually, before we do that, let's show Petter the dupes without names. Petter, you can be Abe, our starting digger, who nobody has ever chosen a name for. Catalina, who is our, she's a builder digger. She often goes to space because I haven't bothered to fill in all of her skills. But she has, as you see, many things that she likes, so she's going to be pretty good. We have Lyra, who is our plumber. General carrying things around dupe. We have Steve, who is our scientist. So those are your choices. Steve is the one we keep sending into space to do space science. That's his space science hat. You really want the pink suit, Amelia? Alright then. We can switch you out. We'll give the snazzy suit to somebody else. You'll be the starter digger? Certainly. There you go, Amelia. Lovely pink suit for you. Right, let's find Abe. Where are you, Abe? Oh, there you are, eating. Actually eating, rather than just doing the eating animation for everything. You are now Petter Bread. I think you already have a suit on. What have you done with that snazzy suit? Did you put it in here? Alright, I've got some questions. So, Amelia was wearing a snazzy suit. And they put on a pink unitard. But now we don't have a snazzy suit? Which seems odd. Amelia? Other one. No, so you're not still wearing the snazzy suit underneath your unitard, which was one of the possibilities I thought of. I don't know where they would have taken it. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, that's all I can think, is that they've moved it somewhere. Oh, maybe you took it off straight away. Maybe you took it off as soon as you were told to get in the unitard. And therefore, just left it wherever you were. I sort of assumed that you'd take it off at the point you put the other one on, but that may not be the way it works. Which would explain that. I never advised, but I pronounce it as Petter Bread. I kept the Petter in there since my first name is Peter. Sounds silly. My brother gave me that name back when we were teenagers. Petter Bread, that is not a problem. We can pronounce it correctly, most certainly. Alright then. Let's brick that in. Now they've swept it out. Research. Okay, it's coming along. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, it unfortunately doesn't move the water through as quickly as I'd like, but here's what it is. It does the thing. Right, we were going to build you some suits. That's what we were going to do here. I will stop messing about and actually do something sensible in a bit. Maybe. I mean, there's definitely a maybe there. I might not. Right, you've dug that out, so you no longer need to use this top door. I'd like you to move these doors back one. Oh, you can't get over there for a second. Alright, well, actually, no, don't build that. I did it again, chat. Well, actually. Alright, And we can deconstruct these doors. Thank you. Oh, and then you need some refined metal, which you don't have any of, so we need to send you some from the homeworld. Hello, homeworld, what refined metal have you got? Not very much. Yeah, that was the only problem with, Grassini here. Is that it didn't really have any access to... what is the thing I'm thinking of? Iron ore. That is the thing I'm thinking of. That would have been handy to have. But that we do not, unfortunately, have. I would like this to be our storage for steel forevermore. We'll put that on a 6. And this one is gonna be iron ore and iron. Neither of which we have any of, so it's not really going to matter in the short term. But it will mean that should we get any, they can bring it near to this. I see we've run out of power again. It's night time. It's understandable. You are here. Let's put one that side. I like them filling up bins. It's sort of one of the weird things about this game that I find very satisfying, is adding resource bins near to the thing that I want to generate resources in. I mean, it doesn't seem that important, but I just sort of really enjoy it. Not that one, or that one. For some reason. It pleases me as a thing to do. What is this set on? This is only set on a 5, so if I want to send them stuff, I'm going to have to set it on a 7. I don't really want to send them the aluminum right now. I would like to send them the cobalt. Thanks, when you make it. Can go over there. And these bins are going to take cobalt ore, copper ore, gold amalgam. Might put the aluminum in there as well. I don't think we actually have any. But, yeah. I do find it weirdly satisfying to organise my bins. Coal. This one's going to be sand. This one's going to be... Is it also a consumable ore? It is. Refined carbon. Eggshells. Pokeshell malts. And also fossil. Consumable ore? No, raw mineral. And speaking of fossil, there's a piece of fossil there, which I would like to dig up. I was looking last night when I was trying to get some stuff done after we finished the stream. I was looking for yet more igneous rock in our endless search for igneous rock, and using the mineral overlay to look for it. And I'm like, look, there's a piece of fossil. I must remember to get it. And I have now remembered to get it. Lovely. You can enjoy filling up a bunch of bins and doing some work. It's good for you to have things to do, duplicants. Oh. Research. We'd like you to shoot more stuff at that, Neo. Cool. Hello, I see you standing around not doing anything. I am going to fix that right now. You are going to make some... Oh, we're going to have to send them some suits as well. There is going to be a slight problem with a reed fibre. Because we're not growing any reed fibre over here for the simple reason that we can't. Should we set up a toilet loop? Should we do them proper toilets as well? Do we have sand? I think we have plenty of sand over here. Yeah, we're not short of sand. We could do them a toilet loop. I mean, we'd probably better serve to set them up some power, to be honest. Well, whatever. I'll think about that. They can be happy that they're just not, you know, starving or being unable to breathe. That's pretty much what I've got right now. Let us have a think about ethanol. Ethanol is the next thing that is going to help us. Well, we should also be able to use... We'll try and put some of the heat from the ethanol into where we want to grow pincher pepper nuts. What do you need for pincher pepper nuts? You. Needs to be 35 at least, and you need phosphorite and polluted water. Oh, well, we can probably use the polluted water for both purposes. Both to heat the room, and to feed the pincher peppers. What have we done? Cure a sick duplicant of disease. Did somebody have food poisoning? And if so, how? I guess they must have been touching this polluted dirt, but there's no particularly good reason for them to have been doing that. And I don't think we've got any curative tablets on the random auto achievement. Indeed, I don't think we've got any curative tablets on the other planet, so it can't be there. Because we haven't got any... we never built the pod over here. So I haven't been able to take anything. Like... what's it? Curative tablets or anything like that. So yeah, that's really weird. I can't imagine any particularly good reason for doing that. Well, you see, that's another thing that I probably don't want here. Let's set you a little bit higher. Because we don't want this to drain too much. Ideally. They just got better. Indeed. We don't know how they got sick, but they got better, so we'll have to take it. Oh, Steve, get out your suit, mate. I'm very sorry. There you go. I can make your life better. You can just get out the suit and that'll be sorted. You've got loads of food. You've got loads of oxygen for now. So we can leave you here. Also, Steve is only in orbit, so we can probably, even if they start to suffocate, we can probably just bring them down before they actually suffocate. And it'll be alright. So... we have this many trees. How many ethanol distilleries do you think they run? Oh, I tell you what we could do. Hello, holy moly. Welcome in. It is often the same people on ONI streams. The ONI community is very loyal. We could... We could plant. We could domestically plant some trees underneath so that we could still use this space for trees. Because isn't the tree to ethanol distillery largely water positive? Is my understanding. Right. Let's have a think about this. Refinement. I sort of think I'd sort of like to run one fertilizer synthesizer. The reason being that if we run one, it produces 10 grams of natural gas a second. That is enough natural gas to run a gas range. Which might be nice. There's some foods we could do if we had a gas range. I mean, it's been hundreds and hundreds of cycles. Just give me a farming rancher. You what name of a thing? Alright. Oh, we don't have any igneous rock. No, we should have loads of igneous rock now, because I brought a bunch back. Yeah, I'm like that. I'm like, yeah, what am I doing? Hang on. Where's my ethanol distilleries? So, ethanol distilleries. We'd want, like, I don't know. Let's say 4 to start off with. How much ethanol do you make, distilleries? You make 500 grams per second of ethanol. So if we have 4, that will feed one petroleum generator. So we probably want 6, because we also want to feed ethanol to our plants. We could fit 6 along here. Not that it really matters, but you know. As a heads up, we can fit them in. Careful where you put them as the output is hot. Yes, I know. We are gonna create a what's it for them. What's the what's it? A box. We're gonna put these in a box. No leaving these in the open air. This is just sort of looking at where they go. I don't have to pause it because they can't build it on the ladders anyway, so they won't do it. That's good. Power. Oh, you're going to bring the stuff. Oh, whatever, you can bring the stuff. Whatever you like, game. So, your outputs are polluted dirt. But then we only get the polluted water out of this. How much polluted water do you put out? 750 grams per second. Alright. How much is that going to give us? By the way, these are bog buckets. That's what we've got that for. Considering we're going to have a few things that we need to grow on them. We can also put these on. We can't grow them yet, but, you know. We can put them in. 750 grams per second. Let's have a look at the bog buckets. Hello, bog buckets. How much do you use? You're going to tell me per cycle, aren't you? Which is going to annoy me no end. 40 kgs of water a cycle for each one. So that's 4,000 grams a cycle. 4,000 divided by 600? Where's my calculator? No, well, it helps if I can actually write. So we can run like... So that's 6.66 recurring grams per second. What do you make again? I mean, you make 750 grams per second, so we could run quite a lot of bog buckets. I assume it won't let me do this because it's the wrong way up. Will you let me look at them? You'll let me look at them, though, even though I can't sensibly put them in. How much do you use? 35 kilos per cycle? That's even less. So one ethanol distillery would definitely give us enough polluted water to run a row of bog buckets and a row of pincher peppers. How about trees? Oh, we could put trees in with the pincher peppers maybe as well. Save putting them over here and sending the water all the way over here. Tree, if we would domesticate you... Oh, you don't tell me? Because I'm growing you wild? That's really interesting. Well, we can check here then. You require 70 kilos of polluted water a cycle. What's that going to be? That's going to be about 10, 12 grams per second. Yeah, we can still probably do it. Alright. So I'm fairly happy with that. We should produce enough polluted water to run the things that we want to run. Next question is, do we want to run the... What's it? The thing that I said I wanted to run. The fertilizer synthesizer. I pretty much never run these, so it might be interesting to make fertilizer anyway. We obviously have plenty of phosphorite because of the Dracos. I think we still have plenty of dirt. Let's have a check. I mean, we do have the pips everywhere, so it's going down, but it's going down pretty slowly, to be fair. Also, a thing that we will be able to do is we could get rid of most of this mealwood and just like probably maybe bring this one down one more and put like a row of mealwood in here, just so that we can have it all in our little section. Nosh beans require ethanol. How? Oh, I can't check because I don't know about nosh beans. This will know about them. Nosh sprouts. Nosh sprouts. How much ethanol do you eat? You eat 20 kilos per cycle, which is like hardly any, is the answer. Hardly any. The problem is going to be the heat, because the ethanol coming out of these is going to be hot. So there's going to be that. Right. Refinement. I'd like to make one of these, please. Just one. I think one will be plenty. Who is idle? Neo. You probably shouldn't be idle. What could I give you to do, Neo? That isn't going to scold you as a preference. Should we just do some digging out down here? Why don't you dig that out? There you go. I'll give you something to do for a minute. I don't like the dupes to be idle. So we collect polluted water underneath. Will it self-power? You produce 2 kilowatts of power. Each of these uses 240 watts. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 13. 14? Yes. It will self-power. How much do you use? Is it loads? No. No, it's not. Okay. So it will be self-powered. Once we get it going, obviously. What else would we need in it? We're going to produce a load of polluted dirt. Do we have anything sensible to do with that? I mean, we have many poke shells. But, I mean, I'm not that excited to ranch them. We'd probably want a battery or two, but we could put that underneath with the, what's it? And then we just need to think about cooling. That is then the thing that we need to think about. Right, you. Let's work out what we've built these out of and where we actually want them. Because I think I've got a vague idea of what I want. Ranch just one to increase the population. I mean, we could do. I'm certainly... Well, I'm not against it. However, we don't have enough ranchers. We keep having trouble with them actually stocking up the Dracos because we've only got one. Alright, that's a lie then. You're not actually trapped at all. Oh, but you can't reach there because we did this to stop Amy constantly walking in the water. How did you do that? Oh, Amy. 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 Why would you trap yourself down there? Just so determined to be down here all the time. Oh well, we fix that. Honestly. Just constantly need to be down here. Alright. So heat is going to be our main problem, I think. Let's build a thing. Should we just build it straight into the wall? Why not? I think that makes the most sense. We'll just shove it over here. We might not need it to be that long. Can we cancel a bunch of this? We'll work out how long we actually need it to be. What we can also do is, let's deconstruct some of these. Okay. We would need to put the, what's it? Where is it? Refinement. The fertilization thing. We need to put in a separate section. Because it's going to make natural gas. The others all make carbon dioxide. But this makes natural gas, so it needs its own little room. So I think we ignore that for now, and we'll worry about where we put its own little room later. We could just put it up here or something. Make its own little room. To do that in. Do you think gold amalgam is gonna be heat resistant enough to run the ethanol distillers with? Well, they don't seem to have an overheat temperature. So gold amalgam will definitely be enough to run these with. Because they don't appear to have an overheat temperature, so that'll be fine. I'm moderately surprised by this news, but I will take it. 1, 2. Alright. It doesn't say so. It doesn't say that they have an overheat temperature. So I'm guessing they don't overheat. Well, I mean, obviously you can melt them, but I'd suggest we'd have to go some to actually melt them. We could try. Just for entertainment's sakes. But that's possibly not the best plan we've ever had. However, we will need to provide some cooling, because something that most certainly does overheat... Well, actually... I've had a thought. I've had a thought. I may have even had a thought that's actually not dumb for once. If we build these of steel, so they only overheat at 275. 1500 degree CO2 room sounds comfortable. Sounds great, doesn't it? Say we were to build these out of steel. So the ethanol will be at least 73.4 C, or hotter if the materials are hotter. Could we in fact use the ethanol itself to keep the room at like 75 to 80? I know ethanol isn't a fantastic conductor. Oh no, we can't, because the ethanol will break in the pipes because it's ethanol. No, we can't do that because ethanol. Blech. You can do it with petroleum. You can't do it with ethanol. Because, yeah. It's ethanol, so it's gonna get too hot. Where's the output bit? Where do you output? I can't remember. No, actually, we probably just want to run it completely underneath you, don't we? No, we probably don't. You could run the whole room at 125 and harvest the heat instead of cooling. I am interested in this idea, Emily. Can you give me more idea of how to do it? Because I'm certainly not bothered about running it hot. Oh, you mean run it as a steam room? Build petroleum generators one level above the distilleries and let the polluted water that outputs to chill the building as they drop to the last level, where you pump the polluted water outside. I think the problem is that the building we're actually really worried about getting hot much more is the generators. We'll have some coal. They don't have an overheat temperature, says. Look. No overheat temperature. They do not overheat. They only melt. These will overheat, but I've made these of steel. Because they will overheat. Basically have a small steam room above, separated from the O2 with conductive tiles, example metal. Oh. Yes, one of the few buildings that don't overheat. That's an interesting idea. Does it work? Because it's definitely a pretty cool idea. I don't know if I want that there. Cancel that for me a second. In that case, do we want these here? We might want to move this structure down a bit then, actually. I like this idea. This is a really interesting idea that I hadn't considered before, but I am now interested in. Here? Yeah, it should be fine. Just fine. Right, you lot. We're going to move you down. So that I've got plenty of room to put a steam turbine and everything. What am I looking for? I'm looking for power generators. We will almost certainly never run the second petroleum generator. But considering how little the nosh sprout in fact taste, you'll or make it steam CO2 sauna as a whole if you don't mind mixing the gases. Do you remember we made that one on you might not. We made one on one of the other runs where we had CO2 in it as well, and it just completely wrecked the steam room all the time. So I don't think I understand how to make them with mixed gases without just all hell breaking loose. Because that was an absolute pain when we've done that in the past. I like the separate CO2 and steamers. I like my gases sorted. With pressure, I mean, yeah, it didn't work, Says. It really didn't work. We had, like, full pressure. We were using high-pressure vents everywhere. It just... We were venting the CO2 out into another space. It just... Yeah. However it is supposed to function, we weren't able to make it function during that run. Which obviously doesn't mean that it doesn't function. It just means that I was unable to make it function. Right. How big a box would you build? Not enough steam then? Was there not enough? No, there was loads of steam. It was a while ago now. I can't necessarily remember, but I don't think that those were the problems. They may have been. This is going to be an excellent place to put the entranceway, because we need to put less stuff down here anyway, and in fact we might even not want it to be as tall. Because what do we need in here? Where do you drop the water from? Is it the middle? Is the output in the middle of the petroleum generator? I think it is it? Yes, it should be. Cool. I thought so. If we do that, we can make a liquid pump. It's gonna go here. I mean, we could make this full floor sized. There's probably no real reason not to. Apart from we don't need it, but we've got the space. No, I don't want to make that out of gold amalgam. I want to make that out of steel. Because that's another thing that could overheat. If you put petrol generators in there and run it at 125 plus, the pea water will flash to steam. And I don't want that to happen. Sad times. True, but sad times. Alright. We'll have to find another way of doing it. It's a good point. I was excited for a minute. There we go. You fill those in. We can put a couple of batteries down here as well, just to keep stuff. And then we return to the how we cool it problem. Are you just not doing any work on this, Neo? Oh, I've accidentally disabled this building, apparently. That would be why. Apologies. I mean, obviously, I would normally cool it just in a normal cooling way. However, we are already running a lot of cooling, and we don't have the power. This approach basically only works for pipe machinery that doesn't drop liquids into the environment. Yes, that is a reasonable caveat. Oh well. We can't have everything. We're also gonna struggle to make a lock, because I don't... Well, we do have some naphtha. We don't have loads of naphtha, but we could potentially make some more naphtha. Make a naphtha liquid lock, so it doesn't matter if it's hot. I mean, we don't want it to be so hot that polluted water will flash anyway, but we also don't want to use polluted water as the thing. And the other waters flash at a lower temperature. So I'm sort of tempted to make some more naphtha. Should we make some more naphtha? I mean, I'm going to, so... Whether you want to or not, chat, is no longer important. Because I have decided I'd like to make more naphtha. Because it was fun. I quite enjoyed this. We might have to make this hotter again, though. Yeah, a little bit. So we'll have to turn this aquatuner on again, which will no doubt redline our grid. But there we go. These things happen. Hi. I'd like you to put naphtha in here. Oh, that's excellent, Saz. That is an excellent turn of events. Speaking of things that's going to become steam, oh, I know how we can get that out. There we go. We'll get it out that way. Excellent. Then we can mop it. What is my brain thinking about? I don't even know what my brain is thinking about now. It's done that thing where it sort of spins its wheels on me sometimes, so it sort of goes, oh, I'm thinking. I am definitely thinking. And the answer is that it's not in any way definitely thinking. It's in fact only just sort of messing about. Do you want to get out of there? You. Out. Out. I appreciate you trying to help, but I don't appreciate you getting shot in the head. So please get out. So yeah, we'll want some batteries. Do you want a liquid tank? Maybe. No, we'll just burn them all the time. We'll want heavy watt power wires though. That is the thing we will want. Emily making suggestions and validating them instantly. I mean, that's just exactly how I go through things as well. You've heard me many times say, oh, we could do this. Oh, well, actually, we can't do that. That is a pretty common way of playing ONI. You do have to sort of think about things. And I'd much rather that people had ideas and were happy to communicate them. But also were happy to go, no, hang on, I've thought of a reason why this idea doesn't work. Then, you know, insist on their ideas when they don't work. I see a problem there. Cancel that. Because we in fact need to make sure... of course you're heavy wire, you won't do that. Cancel that. We need to make sure that this doesn't do the thing. What is the thing? Spill everywhere. That's the thing. Right. This one's fine. There you go. Batteries? Sure. And a... what's it battery? See? That's what my brain does. It just like looks at things. Pretends to be thinking, but actually there are no thoughts there. It's actually just stopped. I don't know if this happens to other people, but I find it happens a surprisingly regular amount. Dear plastic, what is your melting point? Hotter than this is. Hello? I'd like to turn this on again for a bit. Because it's not hot enough. Definitely not hot enough. And I wish to make naphtha, so you get on that for me, game. Where did you find that naphtha? And how come you hadn't found it before? Okay. So we should. I've noticed a problem. Who has noticed a problem with my design? I've noticed a problem with my design. Why do you use the late batteries primarily? The large batteries? I like to use the large batteries primarily because they hold more power. In the late game, the heat runoff isn't a massive thing. You do have power leak and heat leak. But I use them because they're larger, and then I usually add a smart battery to any battery setup that I do. So that if I do decide I want to control something with automation, I have the smart battery here. So the same with this one, where we've got smart batteries on the edge. That's in case we want to run any additional stuff and be like, no, only, you know, use that if these are empty and stuff. So that's sort of the way I do it. And I don't necessarily think that you have to use the smart batteries all the time, even when I have access to plenty of refined metals, which, a reminder, currently we don't. So that's an issue as well. But even when I do, I prefer to not use it on smart batteries when I don't think it's necessary. Does that make sense? That is the reason. How has the stream stability been, chat? Because my stability... not necessarily great, I see. My stability with broadcasting over to my laptop appears to once again be problematic. But it seems fine. Okay. Interesting. Some sort of me problem. I mean, unspecified me problem seems like pretty much the story of my life. Right, deconstruct that. You are going to move one across, and you're going to come down here instead, so that we can actually have a ladder. We can also have another battery, because now I've made a little bit more space. Whether we'll ever use this battery, who knows. My next question that I have for myself is, do I want to use a joint plate to take this out? Because, like, ideally, a thing we would quite like to do, considering we don't have enough power, and we're going to be generating some power, and not using all of it, I don't think. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 2, 16, 4, 16, 6. Yes. Yeah, we could add it onto our grid. That is where I was going. Brain. What do you mean I don't have enough? How have we possibly run out of igneous rock? This can't take 20 tons. Can it? So each couple of tiles is like nearly a ton. Which leads me to a how many have I got question. 16. Yeah. Yeah, now it can use practically 20 tons. Alright, well, how is going back to the other planet going? Oh, it looks like it's sort of done. We even have loads and loads of food. We do have loads and loads of food, which makes me wonder whether we can feed everyone on berry sludge now. Who's got stress? Pitta, why do you have stress? What happened to you? Why would you have stress? Soggy feet. So, Mike is fine, no nose cut-offs. Game sound present. Can't find anything to complain about, unfortunately. I don't know if anyone remembers. I don't know if it was last stream or the stream before. I'm always stressed, so the character fits me. I was complaining about how they could possibly be getting popped eardrums. And look at this list of complaints that PETA has here. There is no way they should have largely any of these complaints from inside. Which makes me wonder about the bug where they can get past the docks. Because the only way they get this list of complaints is if they can get past the docks. So that is my supposition. That in fact, this stress is related to PETA somehow finding a way to sneak past the docks and get out without a suit. Alright then, so we can't necessarily build this just yet, because we need more igneous rock, but we can go back to the other planet and get more igneous rock in order to build it. A thing I would like to do here, if there's a will, there's a way. I mean, yes, obviously, if the dupes are in any way possible of doing something terrible, they'll certainly be doing it. This is news to no one. What do you mean it's unreachable? Oh, because nobody can get out the base. That's right, the sun's coming up. We'll be able to get out of the base again in a minute. Maybe? Oh, it's because I'm running this one. This one's using all our power. How hot have you made this? You haven't made it hot enough. Yeah, so you'll have to continue using all our power. Oh, this does allow me to check the suit situation, though. And I discovered that I don't have as many suits as I think I should have. Can we deliver another suit here? Also, oh, we can't fix that, obviously, because it's in the thing. I appreciate that we can't fix it because it's there. But the worn Atmo suit isn't here. So, where is the worn Atmo suit? Atmo suit. No, we don't have any knocking around the place. So I guess I'd like to produce 2 more, if at all possible. When we can go outside again. There we go, which we can. In the rocket, that is possible, Tresmelion. That is possibly what is going on there, yes. Alright, so this, yeah, they're building that. Speaking of the rocket, did I say that we could fire it? I think we did, didn't we? Oh, I know what I was thinking of. I was thinking about food. Yes, look, we've got 142,000 calories of berry sludge just hanging around. We've also apparently got some excellent fruit here. I guess because we're not allowed to put it in the thing. You there, it is time that the dupes may eat the sludge of berries. We definitely don't have enough power. Get off you. Making naphtha isn't that important. You calm yourself. There you go. That's improved our grid. How's the naphtha as coolant working? I was thinking about using it for food storage. It seems to be okay. I probably haven't run the metal refineries long enough or regularly enough to have a good sense of it as a coolant. But it certainly seems fine, and I haven't had any problems, and I've heard loads of people say that it's a good source of cooling if you don't have petroleum. Oh, apparently grubfruit preserve is the same morale, so I guess we'll allow that in the fridge. We don't have any, but that can be added to things on the fridge. Everyone can eat the berry sludge, and that should make people feel a little bit better. Not that it really matters, because most of the time they're completely fine. Right, this is going to be a thing for lumber. If you'd like to do that. Otherwise, I think it's time to take off. Oh no, we need to have a look in here. If we have any steel left, we need to bring it. We also need, let's say, another 5 tons of plastic. I mean, we've got so much plastic that it's not really a problem. We could just fill up the bin if we wanted. Also, welcome in me. And Tresmelion, if I didn't say so. It's lovely to see you both. I hope you're having a good day. We could do... Oh, hello. I mean, that's not ideal, is it? What's happened here? Was that ice? I don't think that used to be ice. Oh no, the point is that that one has done a thing. Is this the steam escaping? Weirdly, no. Why isn't the steam escaping? No, because the oxygen's leaked back onto the top. Aggravating. Doesn't naphtha have a very low thermal capacity? Might work if you're only after specific heat capacity. Chat. I'm gonna have to fix this again. We also might want to consider taking something that we could use as a liquid lock here in the cold. I wonder if we take the ethanol. If we look here, we have, like, this is enough ethanol to make a liquid lock. So we could take this with us, so that we could liquid lock in the cold environments there and have it actually maintain. Turn off. Just don't want to have to cool my food as it takes so long to prime the freezer. Could you do it the way that I do with hydrogen? Just a little hydrogen gas loop. Run it off a thermoregulator. Less power hungry than the aquatuners. Less heat. I mean, you will have to deal with the heat at one point. But, you use the ethanol for liquid locks on your freezer. I think that's reasonable. I think what we're going to do is, we deconstruct this. We pour the ethanol everywhere. Oh, hang on. Whoa. Before we do that, cancel that deconstruct. Nuts. Because we want it to drop everywhere. 30-gram blobs works nicely. I want it to drop everywhere, but I don't want it to be able to join this. In fact, the way we'll do it is we can stop it this side instead. If it falls down there, I don't care. So if you build that, we can just drop this. And then we can, you've always flash frozen your food and then dropped it in a vacuum. I mean, you can use the same cooling method. I guess it's not flash freezing, though. There would probably be a less long-term power draw. Maybe I'll try that next time. Maybe we'll try to make a vacuum one next time we make one. So that we can try some other things out. How are you doing? You're doing fine. Okay, what's going on over here? You haven't been idle. What is it that you found to do with... That's what you found to do with yourself. Please stop doing that. Cheers, Dupes. I'm glad you had a lovely time running up and down the ladder and endlessly putting ice in the thing. But it's not really necessary. Thanks. Come and dig through here. Yes, I believe so, that damn cat. It's never the way I've done it, but I believe that is the way that you can do it, should you wish to. Let's have a look at our printables. Some copper sounds good, especially since none of these are any good. Oh, there we are. Ethanol everywhere. Oh no, it's gone over this side. That's not what we wanted. I didn't anticipate it going over that side. Well, nuts. Look, now there's ethanol everywhere and it's making a mess. Good grief. Well, there's always something you don't anticipate, isn't there? I mean, that's the classic ONI life. Right, and what I'm going to do, this is probably not the best way to do it, but it's the way that I usually do it. I take it this is probably all the steel that we have. Well, whatever. I'm just going to put a bottle emptier here, and I'm going to pour it on the floor and then mop it up. Freezing all the food does take a lot more energy than just freezing the atmosphere in the fridge. Your brine's not going to be cold enough, I would say. Yeah. It has to be at least -18. And you have to be able to maintain that while your rail gets it to where you're going to store it. We're going to do this mopping? I mean, what else are you doing with your time? Oh, you're mopping. Mop here as well. And this. At some point I'm going to have to open this door and briefly flood the bees so we can get all these liquids back. How are you doing for temperature? You are there. Right. View the interior of that. We built this. Lovely. Oh, they've taken the steel back, haven't they? Of course they have. Because I've actually made somewhere for them to put it in there now. Aggravating. Yeah, so my plan is to just pour it in here and get them to mop it in here. This is one of my exciting ways of bringing liquids with me. There must be easier ways, but I've never entirely worked them out. So currently the way that I do it is that I spill a bunch of stuff, or just use anything where it's in a bottle. If you have it in a liquid reservoir, that is also completely fine, obviously. And then just empty it. I migrated from deep freezing the food to freezing just the fridge atmosphere because it's way less complicated. As I say, I've been enjoying trying some new things in our various ONI's runs. It's why I've been trying to do more sort of challenges and stuff like that. So hopefully that will... I'm not averse to things because they're, like, not as good, I guess. Because actually I'm just sort of interested in trying stuff. Right. What do you reckon? If I turn this on again, you're gonna... I mean, we could also take naphtha. I'm sort of using the naphtha, though. Have I set you up properly? I guess I just haven't set you up as a high enough priority for the dupes to care about doing it. I'm not saying it doesn't work, I've done it many times, I've just become lazy. I mean, that's fair. Ah, I see you. I see you. Quick. Need to view the interior so we can set up mop commands.